Well, as my hammock forums buddy Rob would say, good morning, America. It's about 5:30, which is not my normal time to get out of bed. But then again, I stopped reading the Kindle at about 9, so that's not the normal time I go to bed either. We have a pretty long day ahead of us, as I alluded to earlier, and I'll talk about that in more detail later. So, getting an early start would be a good thing. No sign of sunshine yet, but, my wife said it would be cloudy until about 11. All right, well, we're not in a big rush, but we'll move along, and, well, I need to get out of this hammock. Good morning. Again, it's about 10 after 6 now, and we've managed to have breakfast. A little granola with powdered milk and add water. And we've probably dallied about as long as we can. It'd be nice on a morning like this. It's kind of cool, about 47, 48. Warmer than last night, fortunately, but it'd be nice to be able to stay in these relatively dry and warm clothes for as long as possible, but unfortunately they go in the bottom of the pack. So really, aside from a few minor tasks, the first thing that I need to do in order to start packing up is to get out of these nice, dry, warm clothes and put my hiking clothes back on. Not my favorite part of the day. So as I said, it is a couple of degrees warmer, and that made all the difference in the world. Well, that and the fact that it wasn't raining, I guess. I'm not sure. But I slept very comfortably last night. And I slept pretty well. So, and I'm seeing something. I don't know how this is going to come out on the camera, but over there through the trees, which is to the east, well, no, well, maybe. But there's definitely some bright stuff over there, which I'm hoping is the sun. All right, time to get on with it. So it's about 7 o'clock now, and we are finally, well, once again, packed up and ready to go. An hour and a half. Not that bad, considering we had a leisurely breakfast. So we have a 14-something mile day today. And about the first third is going to be real trail to Jug End and down to Jug End Road. And then we cross the Housatonic River Valley, which is about another third. And then the last third is back to real trail up to Tom Leonard's shelter. One of the things that's going to save us a little time today is that we won't be stopping to do any filming of campsites or shelters, because there are none between here and there. So that's one of the reasons for the relatively long day. First known point is, there's a trail junction. I forget the name of the trail already. It's only 0.6 of a mile up, so I'll tell you then. Ah, yes, it's the Elbow Trail. I remember now. Which leads 1.5 miles down to Route 41. Basically, that's all there is down there, is Route 41. So it's 25 after 7 now. I got a little delayed leaving camp. Well, I'm not hiking that slowly. And we've got 1.7 on to Jug End, which should, since the weather is improving dramatically, afford us some views. I think the last couple of days I've showed you the map at the end of the day, and I think I'll show you the map now, and then be on my way. So we began our day at the Glen Brook shelter. We then walked north on the AT until we came to intersection with the Elbow Trail. From here, we'll continue north over Mount Bushnell and come to Jug End, from which we will descend down to Jug End Road and begin walking across the Housatonic River Valley. So without much elevation change, we'll cross Route 41, we'll come to the Shay's Rebellion Monument, and continue along, crossing railroad tracks and Route 7, and then finally reach the Housatonic River. We'll cross the river and then re-enter the real trail, climbing up June Mountain and crossing Holmes Road and continuing upward to the summit of East Mountain. And then without much elevation change, we'll come to Warner Mountain and then finally to Tom Leonard's shelter, where we'll spend the night. It's about 20 of 9, and we have reached the place where the trail goes as far out on Jug End as it's going to go. And it's hard to know exactly when you've reached this place, because there are, if you're going northbound, there are places you'd come to before this where you'd say, well, is this the end? Is this as good as it gets? And it's probably not. So the way to know that you're here is that arrow there. Basically, the trail comes from up that way, and right here it makes an almost 180-degree turn back to the south, and starts a steep descent down to the road below. But there's a lot of herd paths and things out here, and if you wander around a bit and trend a little further to the north, you can find a better outlook. So this area, I would say, is the true end to Jug End. And it's a pretty nice view. You know, this section of trail from Lion's Head to here is one of my favorites, in large part because of the views, but we certainly didn't get any of those yesterday or the day before. But at least we got to see something. I'm going to guess that most distant peak there, about center, is Greylock. Seems about right. So you may be curious about the name Jug End. What the hell is a jug end anyway? End kind of makes sense. It's the end of this ridge, but what's jugs got to do with it? And it's really nothing about the end. Back in the early 20th century, there was a youth camp in the area with the German name of Jugend. I'm probably pronouncing that horribly, and I don't know if that's actually a German word or not. But the prefix there, Jung, Y-U-N-G, I'm sorry, no, it's J-U-N-G. It's pronounced as if it's a Y. J-U-N-G is German for youth. Sorry about the sun. Or young, I'm pretty sure. So over the years, that got anglicized from Jugend to Jug End, and that's the story of the name. I mean, names don't have to make sense, but it's nice to have a story. All right. Well, I didn't look at the map. It's about a mile, I think, down to the road, and after that we have a lot of flat walk, mostly to the east, across the valley and across the Housatonic River. So it is 9:40 and we've reached Jug End Road. That was a steep descent, at least up top, and lots of ledge, and it's still wet, so I didn't rush. So we have a lot of flat walking ahead of us, as I recall. And it's 9/10 across to Route 41 and 4.2 to Route 7, and a little flat after that, but then we'll go back into the woods, and then 9.9 to Tom Leonard Shelter, where we hope to be spending the night. The section of trail, at least parts of it, between here and the Shay's Rebellion Monument, which we'll see a bit later, had some of the worst mosquito infestation I'd ever seen in my life. Now maybe it's still cool enough that the mosquitoes will be dormant, but I've got my can of, or bottle of DEET, which I hardly ever use, in my pocket just in case. It's 10 after 10 and we're crossing Route 41. Just a short distance south of here, there's an old farmhouse and other properties that serve as local offices for both the AMC and ATC. But there's no parking here for hikers. So it's about 10 of 11 and we are on South Egremont Road at the monument to the last battle of Shay's Rebellion, which was here on February 27th, 1787. Now, I don't remember enough from my history class to recall all the details of what Mr. Shay and his compatriots were annoyed about, but as I recall, taxes had a lot to do with it. And farmers were being foreclosed on a lot. So they sent General Washington up, as I recall. Anyway, it's 1.8 miles on to Route 7. The temperature, by the way, is a gorgeous 70 degrees. And as you can see, there's barely a cloud in the sky, just a little bit of mist maybe. So I'm loving it. Well, it's 11:35 and we have arrived at Route 7, a major road crossing. We now take a circuitous route over along the Housatonic River, kind of, until we cross it on a street about a mile from here. Well, it's quarter after noon, and I'm crossing the Housatonic River in this blizzard of fluff stuff. I would have been here a little sooner, but I found a couple other backpackers, and we had to have a long conversation, of course. So it's into the woods soon, and then 2 miles to the next road crossing after that. I believe it was Holmes Road. So our easy days of flat walking are over. So about 10 minutes later, 25 after 12, we completed this short road walk and entered the woods, and sign says shelter is 5.1 miles. Not too bad. Actually, it wasn't supposed to be a road walk at all. After crossing the Housatonic River, the trail went into a little piece of woods, and then a little later came out of the woods and walked along a grassy strip at the edge of the road to avoid actually having to walk on the road itself. I didn't see much point in that, and I just walked on the road to get here. It is 1:15 and we have made it to Holmes Road. So now we have 1.4 miles to get up to the top of East Mountain. Hopefully there'll be some demarcation there when we get there. And it is a bit of a climb, so we don't expect to be leaping our way to the top. Well, it's 2 o'clock, and I'm going to guess that I am at the summit of East Mountain. There doesn't seem to be anything higher here, and just past here, the trail north is going down. So it's 2.1 miles from here to Tom Leonard's shelter, and the profile map shows little ups and downs with an overall drop of a couple hundred feet between here and there. So I think the hard work is over for the day. I hope. And here is a view back across the Housatonic River Valley to the mountains we were on yesterday. So I got to Tom Leonard's shelter later than I thought, probably about 3:15 or so. Didn't check the time because there were a couple of guys here yakking, and I did some yakking with them as well. But their yakking was one of the reasons I was able to find the shelter, because there was no sign for the shelter. I noticed a Blue Blaze trail, but I don't go down every Blue Blaze trail I see. But walking on a little further, I was kind of above the shelter and could hear them talking down below, and then could see the shelter roof. So I turned around and came down. I might have found it otherwise, but it was good that they clued me in. So, and I did find that there are several. I stopped looking after I found 3, I think. Good hammock spots. If you come to the shelter, they're behind the rock. If you're ever here, you'll know what I mean. But so they're if you follow the sign to the tent platform, there's only one. You'll walk through a grove of mostly hemlocks that has the hammock spots. So I don't know if you can hear them. There's now a different group of hikers at the shelter, and they don't plan on staying either, I think, which may be a good thing. So we've set up the hammock. What time is it now? 4:25. We've set up the hammock. We left the tarp up. And we're relaxing. I'm not sure what we're going to do next. So cooking from the hammock is, pretty easy, and cooking on the tree shelf is pretty easy, although I have that problem with the heat sink issue. Nothing's quite as easy as doing it here on the shelter's picnic table, especially since no one is here. I'm expecting the two guys that I met near the Housatonic River to show up, but not yet. So there once again is our not ready for prime time chicken cacciatore.
Sorry, I forgot to say goodnight. The shelter's very popular tonight. There's, well, at least 3 other people. Maybe others showed up. I'm not sure. Well, we'll see you in the morning. Good night.
Good morning. It's just about 5 after 6. I was hoping for a nice sunrise this morning. We're positioned properly for it, but it looks like we're back to entirely overcast and somewhat misty, foggy weather conditions, which makes the roughly 48-degree air temperature feel a little bit colder than that, to me anyway, but we're doing okay. So apparently I'm a laggard. There was a hammock set up behind me and it's gone, and there was a tent out on the tent platform and it's gone. I saw its owner doing some last-minute packing up near the shelter. It's possible there are people in the shelter. It's kind of dark in there. I can't really tell for sure. But I'm alone back here, so no need to be worried about making noise. So we're going to have some granola, probably not dawdle over it, and get dressed and make it out to the car. Short day today, only 2 miles. Guess we won't bother with a map for that, and then it'll be off to home. So it's about 7:30, and we are all packed up and ready to hike out of the woods. As I said, it's about 2 miles to the car. So a short day, a very short day. Still quite misty, foggy. No sign of the sun. Hands just a little bit chilled, but that'll be corrected soon. So that's it then. The end of another great hike. All right. It wasn't all that great, weather-wise anyway. So I kind of apologize for making you watch so much water. But the weather is what the weather is. So I've got some clean clothes to change into, and then about a 2-hour drive home. And then my wife and I are going out to lunch, I think. So, see you next time. Thanks for watching.